Hi, everybody. My name is Julie Schoeman, and I am going to be giving a tour of my professional e-portfolio. This is my second attempt. My first attempt, I had lost audio, so second time's the charm. I wanted to start off by just explaining that a big component of creating my e-portfolio was to make sure that not only my graduate studies were highlighted, but that I was able to highlight who I am as a professional, what interests me, and what inspires me. And one major component of why I chose this program is because I'm extremely interested in creating instructional tools. I really enjoy things that not only have deep value in the classroom, but also kind of look nice and look cute and highlight my personal style. I've always had aspirations of being a product seller online, as and not only just to have it as a side career that I can make money off of, but something that really sparks my interest. And being able to apply my own personal flair to my site was something that was important to me. So, to begin with my candidate info, if you scroll, you'll find my introduction to this practicum as well as my tech goals. Feel free as we move along to pause as need be to take a look at some of these documents. I also have my tech goals highlighted next to my transference reflection and my goals for the upcoming years. In my technology philosophy, you're going to understand what inspired me and what drew me to this program, and also what kind of learners I want to create in my classroom. I think that as a profession, we're on the cusp of some major change, and I think it's very exciting to be the leaders of this movement. And I think that that was highlighted through my technology philosophy. The resume assignment was especially applicable to me because my husband and I are actually transferring to the Olathe district next year. And so as I was going through the semester, I was also going through the process of interviewing and preparing my resume and preparing materials for that interview. And so this was the actual resume that I had used going in on some of those interviews, and it was really helpful to have a second glance at those materials. Now we're going to move into the professional development plan, which was kind of the epicenter of this practicum experience. Within my school district, we had a district goal of beefing up our Tier 1 instruction. We are now on year 5 of implementation for the Eureka math curriculum. It was formerly known as Engage New York. And now that teachers are starting to feel more comfortable about the content that Eureka Math has provided for us, we're trying to delve in deep into Tier 1 instruction. We spent a lot of years trying to beef up small group instruction, and we feel like we've really mastered that. But unfortunately, by tiering off and differentiating so much, some of the most effective strategies that we show in our Tier 1 instruction have fallen by the wayside. And so in our KEEP evaluation, we also noticed as a school, we were struggling to be reflective in our lessons. So in our practices, we were reflective in how we taught, but providing opportunity to give feedback to students on how they're doing or have students provide feedback for other students was an area of weakness in our staff. And so in my professional development plan, I wanted to implement the tool Nearpod into Tier 1 instruction. And my reasons for that being twofold. For one, it would allow our teachers to, across the board, provide the same instructional materials to Tier 1 instruction. It would also delve very deeply by having students hold themselves accountable, because through Nearpod, they would be responsible for a whiteboard through their device, where they would have to submit their work after every practice problem. It would also provide opportunity to give each other feedback and teachers giving students feedback, because the teacher can then project work and students can comment on one another and get a student example of how that work should be done. So as a staff, we met to do some Nearpod implementation. It mainly consisted of myself, my partner teacher, some intermediate teachers who would be staying for the following school year because I'm in a very transient district. They would serve as mentors to help out other teachers who are coming, as well as our instructional coach. So you're going to be able to access the videos of some of the initial trainings. The first and the second sessions were recorded within my classroom. What became very interesting is that the third session occurred when we had taken a break for spring break. moments before realizing that we were not going to be returning to school for the remainder of the year. We knew we had an indefinite return date. We just didn't realize that we wouldn't be back at all. And so instead of waiting and saying, oh, we'll just reschedule this for when we return, I had done the session remotely and recorded it so that they could practice independently on their own devices. As of right now, I'm not quite sure how our plan is to continue with this professional development because our main priority is shifting into preparing e-learning instead of adding new tools to our palettes. You can access the presentations that were shown during these sessions through the presentations tab. If you click within the documents, you are going to have a toggle button that tells you to access the presentation where you can see the slides that were used to guide the instruction during the professional development sessions. The article summaries were an opportunity for me to stay informed on why my objective for my PDP was so relevant to my district and why it was important. I was able to highlight issues such as the need for frequent formative assessment in our instruction, as well as the use of assistive technology to provide equitable learning for all students. And finally, I was able to learn about engagement through Nearpod. I was able to find an article that directly applied to the program that we were implementing in this plan. It was important to me that when I prepared my extra resources, that I was able to not only show a myriad of different tools I could use in my graduate program, but also assignments that then directly were applied in my classroom. And so most of what you see on this list are going to be things that were used in actual lessons and actual units of study within my classroom. One thing that I also really placed emphasis on is that you can see different types of tools. And so these range from creating animated loops to creating Google Forms, Google Slides, Google Docs, Google Drawings, being able to use animated videos like Animoto and Powtoon. And so if you scroll through, you'll be able to see many different types of resources, but also meaningful resources that then were directly used within my classroom. I found the peer review process very valuable. As I mentioned before, that while I was doing my practicum, I was also in the process of transitioning to a new school district. And so the ability to have a peer reviewer and somebody who was there to hold me accountable through this program was really powerful and meaningful for me. I could feel some of my graduate responsibilities slipping as my personal life took over. And of course, at this point in time, when I'm trying to prepare e-learning, I can feel it slip as well. So having that peer reviewer was a very meaningful experience for me to keep me accountable for my work. As far as my professional peer reviewer, I chose my partner teacher because not only was she a participant in the professional development plan, but when you look at those extra resources pages, these are also resources that she then applied in her classroom because I was using them in mine. We work very closely together and we make sure that the lessons that we're doing at the same time. And so that all kids within our grade level are getting the same equitable access to learning. And so she was willing to take the risks with me and try out these resources. And so I thought that her opinion was very valuable as she reflected on my e-portfolio. My peer reviewer was Linda Nellor, and she did an excellent job of holding me accountable and checking in and seeing if I needed any guidance from her. And so I'm very appreciative to her throughout this whole entire process. I look forward to the conversations that are going to take place during the comp review so I can delve deeper into this PDP with another group of people. Thank you for listening.